ants, bees, and humans. All three of us, we have something in common. And it's not what you think. It's not just that they are alive and we too are alive. There's a different story. Let me explain. Hello, brother. This is a bee. And this is a me. Like myself, many people inhabit this house. And like this guy, many others inhabit his home. And just as how we humans decide based on logic, these creatures too, they also decide based on logic. But not in the same way that we do. Let me explain. And yeah, now it's the start of the video, and I would like of you to visualize something. I want you to actually look at the screen and think something. Now we're on the sketchbook, and I'd like to show you something. So you may think of this structure as the brain, right? If I took a certain part of it outside of it, what would happen? Would it stop working? No, it most probably would not. Why? It's still the brain, it's one part, right? Wrong, it's not one part. Let me tell you what's right. It's a collection of parts. It's a collection of these tiny things that we call neurons. And what I'm trying to tell you is that each ant or each bee in its own hive is like that. If you're like, well, one of our neurons fire up and the others don't at all, and as a result of these two, a decision is made, right? That's what you think, right? And yes, that is right up to a certain extent. Let me explain my point, bro. And let's start. So bees, my friend, have this thing called the wiggle dance. They do a sort of a wiggle, and the angle they do it in and the distance they do it in, it conveys a path or a direction to the other bees. And they also do a signaling dance. They also use this for signaling, actually. Like if they'll do one thing if they agree, or they'll do another thing if they don't. It's like they go this way, you turn this way, and they compare this with the sun's angle and they do the angling. If you're like, wait, what's this? Can't you explain more in depth? Well, I could here, but the video would get boring. Just search a wiggle dance by bees and you'll come to a Wikipedia page. And that's much more interesting if you read it. Let me actually show you why this is important. So, in our brains, each neuron can perform one action at a time. It can send a signal. And the different regions and the different types of signals sent and received, they kind of determine the effect of that signal. But for bees, it's this way. Just as how our neurons communicate with each other through electrical signals, you can think of this one guy here, this bee, as one neuron in its whole hive network. And that way, it is essentially communicating with its dance. So it's like this. How many seconds it takes to cover a specific distance is essentially the distance between its place and the other place. Honeybees have gotten so frighteningly good at this, not just honeybees, every type of bees. They've got so frighteningly good at this that one can literally tell the other and the other will know where to go. And what it does is, it kind of takes a turn right now, right? So what happens is, honeybees have this internal sun compass type thing, so they know where the sun is relative to wherever the hell they are. So if the sun is over here, this honeybee or this bee just goes like that. And that would mean that the angle is essentially the distance they have to, the displacement angle. Like if the other place they're specifying is over here, say, and the honeybee is here. What it does is it shows this angle, meaning that the other bees have to fly this way. You get what I'm going with this? And with these kinds of tactics, bees either wiggle or they stand still, and they vote on the place they want to go to. So that is kind of like a democracy inside the heads. Inside our heads, our brain's neurons can perform two operations. Yes, I want to send a signal. No, I don't want to send a signal. And they can decide on the strength of that signal and stuff like that. But honeybees, on the other hand, can say yes or no. They can communicate distances. So they can do 3 operations, which is one more than our neurons. And if you look at a set of honeybees, they will be as smart as a human brain. Not in exact reality, but if you take a look at the mechanisms behind it, it's eerily similar to the human brain's functioning. And that's what I meant by honeybees being akin to human society. Why? Well, you think of the honeybees as one creature, right? Now, if you look at them as a collection, they appear to look as smart as a human being. But now, when I look at one human being as one neuron, and all of the people in it as different connections, each human being can perform so many freaking operations, which means that humans too are hive minds, because a hive mind is categorized as a pseudo mind, like each honeybee is a neuron and that kind of shit. It can even be done with ants. If you put humans into that category, yes, we would form a very huge mind. Because think about it. In this house where I live in, and in this house, and in your house that you live in, you have different people in the family. And if you want to buy something as a young child, you're going to have to convince the others. So it's basically a yes, no, 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 which means you're not going to get that signal across. Or either it's a yes, 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 no, no, might get the signal across with a low strength. Or it's a yes, 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 yes. So humans technically also function as neurons. And if you look at it that way, the whole society is a hive mind. If you're like, well, they have categories, different things can do different operations, like the queen bee gets the final say in their thing. Well, here too, hierarchy exists. If you want to, you can deny this. If you want to, you can cry about it. But the truth is, IQ is a very real thing. It's your ability to abstract things. So people on the lower end of the IQ spectrum, they're like the worker ants. And people who are on the medium end, they're like the drone. They'll be used and they'll be thrown away when not needed by the queen bee. No, that sounds awfully weird. But let's now get to the actual queen ant. Now, what's its function? Well, her function is essentially to make a lot of offspring. No, we're not going to think about it like that. That is the topmost hierarchy. And that's where the most high IQ people and medium IQ women stand. We have a different respect system for women, right? And yeah, I've got a little bit more to talk with you. Oh shit, my leg. Yeah, let's get back here. So, the difference between this guy and you, there is one very major thing. That is, the hierarchy is not rigged against you. Say this guy wants to become a queen bee. He can't do that. Say this guy wants to go up one step in the hierarchy ladder and become a drone from a worker. He can't do that. But you can. Guess what? IQ is just one factor. That's why. You can become stronger than the guy with a high IQ. You can look way more attractive. You can attract more women. You can do a shit ton of other things than just IQ related stuff. You can learn to decide better, and you can learn to do the things that would normally require a high IQ by just looking at a shit ton of data sets. Imagine ChatGPT, man. It just read a shit ton of stuff and now it's better than most people at most things they do. facts. And yep, IQ is just your speed of learning. You can still learn. And maybe there's a million other variables. Your ability to focus, concentrate, and create, and many things else than that. And yep, then there's taste, design sense. A million other factors are involved, so that's where we and those creatures differ. That's about it. Let's get to the epilogue. And yeah, that is essentially society as a function of hive minds. And if you like this video, tell me if you liked it. This kind of shit takes a little bit more time than my usual video to make, and today I decided to try it out. And tell me how it is in the comment section below. Bye.